Hey y'all, welcome back to another episode of the Pickles and Bacon Show. I am Pickles, and this is my brother Bacon. Bacon,
Hey
tell us
y'all.
about who we got on the show today.
Well, y'all, one day while I was stumbling through TikTok, I happened to stumble on this person's page, and they were an amazing creator. I believe it was a music video or something that had to do with their music that I saw on TikTok. And I was like, well, let me follow them because they seem fascinating to me. And I was finally able to get them on the podcast, and I'm about to introduce him right now. This person, if you don't follow them on TikTok, their name is Legz. He also does a lot of music here on YouTube. So I'm gonna let him have the floor so he can introduce himself.
Okay, cool. Hi, my name is Legs. As he said, my name is Legs. I am a musician. I'm a singer, songwriter, dancer. I kind of just do it all. What's happening? Thank you guys so much for having me. I do appreciate you. Thank you.
Oh, you're welcome. And today, if you guys don't know, we're going to be reviewing his music video, which I'm very excited about because I'm like, this is going to be like one of the first music videos I think on the channel that we're actually going to sit here and review, if I'm not mistaken, right, Pickles?
That is true. Just for the recording and copyright purposes, do we have your permission to review the video on our page?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, let me share my screen.
Pickles, you're muted. You muted yourself.
Can you hear me now?
There you go. You're back.
Can you hear me now?
We can hear you. Yeah. Share the screen now so we can review this.
All right.
Okay.
So I was watching it a moment ago. Okay, here we go.
It's right there. Okay, here we go, y'all. I'm excited for this. We can't hear the audio on it.
Hold on. Let me
Sorry,
see
technical difficulties, y'all. Give us a second.
Hold on. Give me a sec. Let's see if I can do it. Share with audio. Okay.
There it is.
You smell that food? I smell the food. I smell the party, man. Get it.
And if I don't let you know, then I won't be for real. I could be wrong, but I feel like something good
Yeah. Tell me, are you still down? Oh, yeah. LEGZ? YS? Oh, they know. Okay, I'm looking for a ride or die. What's the deal? I can put some real in your life, but you gotta be worth it. I ride my own way, baby, come surf it. But it's always so much deeper than the surface, yeah. Couple bad chicks broke my heart on purpose. Had me thinking all these girls was hella worthless. But that ain't the way it has to be. Give me the real you and you'll get the real me, baby. 'Cause baby, I just want you everything. No temporary, I'm looking for a forever thing. So if you really wanna be down with that, let me get your number and I'll holler back. I wanna be down with what you're going through. I wanna be down. I wanna be down with you, no matter the time of day and night. It's true. I wanna be down.
After all this time, I'm still saying,
baby, are you down for mine? Is you down to ride?
'cause every girl before was just playing.
Money in my time, putting in overtime, driving my shine.
When I say that I want it all,
I really mean it, baby girl, I want it all.
so if you wanna take a ride with me,
The road we're taking is a clouds, destination ecstasy.
so if you wanna be down, baby, say so. I'm real like Ja Rule and J-Lo. Make the move, I ain't tryna go slow-mo. I'ma tell you one time if you don't
wanna be
know.
down with what you're going through. I wanna be down. I wanna be down with you, no matter the time of day and night. It's true. I wanna be down.
Yeah.
That was awesome. I really
Thank
liked it.
you.
That's the first time I'd seen it. That was amazing.
Thank you. Thank you so much. I appreciate that, bro. Thank
You're
you.
welcome. You're welcome.
Thank you.
And I saw at the end of this movie, the video that the single or the song comes out on the 14th. Is that right?
Yeah, actually the whole so okay, so here's normally how I guess like how it works in the background when we decide to release music. So there's a few types of projects that we would consider. Well, ultimately we call them the album. That's what they're called, an album. Really in reality there's demos, which are about 4 to like 5 or 6 songs. Then you got EPs, which are extended plays, which is going to be anywhere between 7 and like 10 to 11 songs. LPs, which is like 12 to like 15 songs. And then albums are like 16 and on, full length albums. So what you do, at least what we've been doing is this is an EP. There's about 9 songs on it. We are supposed to release at least one song, release to like stream out there to the public. Everybody can listen to it. I'm so sorry. You release at least one song. And my producer and I were talking about it. He says, "No, I don't want to release any songs off this project. We're just going to release music videos. So we're going to anticipate the drop of the actual song so they can listen to it on their own. So the entirety of that project is available on the 14th rather than just one song.
Okay, that's interesting. That's a cool
Yeah.
concept.
It's different.
That's cool.
It's so
And
different.
and where are all the music videos shot? Are they at that one location or different locations in your area?
It will be different locations. So we're only doing 2 music videos for this. We're actually gonna it's cutting it kind of close because my producer likes to work on his time and no one else's. So sometimes that puts us back a day or two. But it's usually on different locations for each video. This one was shot actually here in my house for the house party scenes. This is my home. And the other part of it was at one of my cousins' photo studio. We also did that's where we did like a 90s style photo shoot. So we did that there as well. Yes.
90s, very good years.
Hell yeah. The best
Yes.
years. The best.
Yeah, exactly.
Whoa. Oh, she said
See,
yes.
these young kids don't know. I tell this to my nephew. I'm like, y'all young kids don't really know what it's like until you grew up in the 90s.
Facts. All
Yeah,
facts.
facts.
All facts.
So Legs, why don't you tell us a little bit about your musical career? Like, when did you get started?
Okay. So I actually started making music about 12 years ago. I was already an adult with adult responsibilities, and I said, "Oh, why not?" So I was about 22, 21, about to be 22, or had just turned 22 when my first project released. But I don't know. I've always been a musical person. I'm a dancer at heart, originally before anything. I've been a dancer since I was 9 years old. So I've been doing it for as long as I could possibly remember. So music and musical abilities kind of came hand in hand, which I've always appreciated because I've always felt a deeper connection with music than just being a listener. So being a dancer made more sense. I was able to transcend. I was able to pull sound. I was able to create movement out of sound, like that kind of stuff. It was difficult growing up where I was, and that's kind of the day old cliche is everybody has a plight. Everybody has a struggle with where I'm from and what I've been through. Like, not to knock anyone's hustle, or to add to that, but where I came from, we all had choices, and some of the choices, I won't lie to you, some of the choices I made, even as a dancer, just as a person, I was a kid. I mean, even as some of those choices were questionable, were kind of up for interpretation as to why. But in the end, music was the only thing that I had, the only constant. Didn't really have much of a constant home life. Mom's was going through what she went through. Dad wasn't in the picture. I haven't seen my dad since I was 13.
Kind of sounds familiar.
Yeah. And most people go through something like that, which makes, for me, I guess it makes for like talking to my friends or talking to anybody, really, strangers for that matter. It makes it easier because I know I'm not talking about something that someone's gonna look at weird and be like, nah, I can't relate. So having a relatable backstory, even to the point of like our lives were the same, makes it easier to communicate and to bond with somebody because it makes them feel understood. It makes them feel heard. So when I tell people like, yeah, I was a dancer, I connect to a million people easily by saying I was a dancer, and I felt like that was my only choice. That right there is it's a connection with these people. But truthfully, with when it came to music, when it came to writing, I was 12 when I started writing poetry. I mean, I'm a lovesick puppy, man, at all times. I part on the sleeve, on the face, on the chest, like you can see my emotions. And which I'm sure if you were ever in any of my lives or anything of the sort, you could tell I don't play about my feelings. You gonna get the feelings. And
Exactly.
yeah, and we're very expressive over here, and as I'm sure you can vouch for me here, man. Like I'm all about openness. I'm all about
100, 100.
all of that. So with poetry was easy to me. Sixth grade language arts class, and we have to work on poetry. I'm like, okay, all right, sure, we can do this. Why not? And then I much rather enjoyed it. And then I got my first girlfriend, and that girl got a poem a day. Like it was, I was one of those, and I was like, okay, I like this. So I became a writer. I mean, I was writing poetry throughout most of my life. Even to this day, I still jot down stuff, and well, that'd be a great song. Like it would, but it won't. Um, and honestly, getting older, that's where I was able to. Okay, this don't need to be melodic. This just needs to be. That's all it is. So those are two of the biggest things that happened to me in my life. Two of the very largest. Music is by far the largest, right next to dancing, but writing and dancing are the hugest. But in sixth grade, I kid you not, in sixth grade, I had one, what do they call it in sixth grade? They had trimesters. They did them in sixth, I think in like middle school and all that stuff. Um, I had I had one trimester of choir. One. That was it. And what I remember is the teacher, the instructor plays on a piano that doon doon doon, that do re mi. She goes up the scales
Hmm.
and she'll climb up the piano, and we had to match the note, and she figured out how where we are, where we go, and she was going up top to the highest notes, and I looked at her, I was like, I could keep going, I could do this, I can go up there, I could try it, let me do it, let me try it. Like I kept pushing, and she's like, no, I know where I'm putting you. And that was it. After that, I never did singing. I never did choir. Never did no classes, nothing. I just knew I could sing high. I just knew I could get up there. But my music, when it comes to like learning how to sing or doing those kinds of things, that came from riding in the car with my family and then playing, top 20 to top 100 stations and singing along to like boy bands and R&B and all kinds of stuff. That those were my instructions. My instructors were some of the greatest singers in the world, like Boys to Men being one of them and all that stuff. So when it came to music, I was never taught how to sing. I still don't think the way I sing, I can't hold a candle to most singers out there. I know I'm not saying I'm bad. Don't get me wrong. I'm not saying I'm bad. I won't knock myself. But I know that I didn't come from a background that's very musical, so I never had instruction. So it's fun when people ask me like, how did you learn to sing? I was like, listening to the radio. I was mouthing the words. I was trying to emulate how they sounded. I was trying to meet their tone. I learned, ooh, if I turn my head and I make a funny face, I can hit this note. I learned all that on my own. No one taught me. And then the power of the internet came to play, and then YouTube became one of the biggest things in my life. And I was listening to people sing, discovering new singers. I was like, oh my God, this is happening around me. And then right there, all of that. Anytime I hear someone sing, I learn. I have the ability to pick that up. I'm like, oh, I could do that. I mean, if you listen to not this whole project, so this whole new project's a whole different ballgame. But if you listen to some of my previous EPs and albums, and you listen to what we're doing in it, you can hear the inspiration from a popular 90s and 2000s R&B songs. Going back to, as far as the 80s and the 70s. the way the melodies are created, the way the tones are saying, that kind of stuff. If you listen, you can hear that happen. You can hear me completely turn into a different person because now I'm singing like this person and I had to put myself in their headspace. So yeah, that's pretty much it.
That's awesome. You're talking about feelings and like poetry
Mhm.
earlier. And I was wondering, what is your sign? Are you like a Cancer, like me? Because like I'm Cancer, and I'm like I am sensitive. Like I feel energy. I'm sensitive, and I feel like emotions. But
Right.
at the same time, I can sense the attitude or like the
Hmm.
the BS, and I can totally
Hmm.
match anyone with it. And
Facts.
like I like to say, one of my superpowers is like I can tell when people are lying or not being truthful or whatever,
Right.
and I'll be
Right.
like, I'll say to Deke, "Oh, look, that person's lying," or "Look, that person says this and that."
Oh yeah, like randomly, like we'll be sitting there, and then like somebody will say something to her, and she'll like randomly turn to me. She'll be like, "They're lying. Watch, I'm gonna catch them on it." I'm like, she'll literally catch them in a lie, and then they like backtrack because they don't know what to do. I'm like,
Yeah. Tell the truth. That's all you gotta do is tell the truth.
Like,
That's true.
yeah, that's like my thing. Like, just tell the truth. Like, okay, if this is your situation, just say that.
Yeah.
Because it was like if you come out like lying or saying, whatever, I'm gonna be like, I'm not gonna mess with you because I know that you lied to me or that you
Yeah.
lied or you're saying half truths or whatever. I don't like that. But
That's true.
anyways, back to you. Um, so dancing and music or whatever, and then you started posting your stuff like on YouTube. Do you think that posting your videos on YouTube has gotten you a slightly bit more known than if you had like
Mm.
followed, like got a record deal and like were on MTV and like all that kind of
Oh,
things?
okay. Okay. So, to answer your first question, I'm a Libra. I'm an October Libra. Yeah.
Okay.
And we the best. We kind of the best out here. We kind of hold it down for the whole zodiac.
same birthday as John Lennon, by the way.
That's
Same birthday as
exactly
John Lennon.
correct. Yep. And Leif
Uh,
Erikson Day. My
Yeah.
birthday lands on Leif Erikson Day too. Just a fun little tidbit. Okay, so that goes excuse me, that goes into oh man, that goes into every musician, every artist, anybody who's ever had the want to go further than where they actually are, making it on that velvet screen and being in videos where the world is like like that kind of stuff. Oh, that's everybody's dream. It's just the price you want to pay to have that dream because we don't I've always felt with people who live like that, we don't sleep the same. We don't dream the same. You had to, you had to pay a price to get that big, and sometimes it humbles me because I'm like, I don't want to go through that. And then in other parts of my life, like, damn, we could be going through that. It'd be kind of cool. But I feel like it's important that you post your music. It's very important that you post your content because as small as your content or big as your content may be, somebody's going to want to see your content. Someone's going to relate to it. Someone's going to be like, "Oh, this is yeah, you're going to follow." They didn't I mean, I would personally feel and this is how I feel about it. I don't think people follow me on content or on platforms for nothing. I think they follow me for a little bit. There's a reason behind it. So, and that reason may just be because they saw one of my videos and like, oh, this dude's funny or this dude's he's this, he's that, he's this. I feel like it makes it easier for them to be like, yeah, yeah, that's who I want to follow. And right there, you're either going to be a good influence or a bad influence. You're going to be good content or bad content to them. So, but for YouTube itself, I feel when I posted my first little music video, which I shot, recorded, edited, I did it all my own. Uh, Almost all but two videos, and most of my content I've done myself. People don't do for me. Like the video we watched, I edited that myself. I actually got it back from somebody, and I'm like, don't like it. Let me just give me all the clips. I'll do it. But I think posting on there that yes, that did help. That did reach a whole different demographic for me, a whole different amount of people. Because if you see on YouTube when you have time to do so, I used to do these covers called Thumbs Up Thursdays. It's just throwback covers, just music, stuff like that. And I mean, they popped off. I posted like on Facebook. I would put my videos there because Facebook ended up giving me a way further reach than anybody did. YouTube wasn't doing that. I was doing millions in YouTube where I'm doing maybe a couple thousand, or millions on Facebook where I'm doing a couple thousand on YouTube. And then I started seeing those numbers dwindle. And then I found TikTok. I found the Clock app. And that's where I was like, oh, cool. All right, this is fun. I'm getting random people. These ain't people that I know. Let me just go ahead and keep doing this. So I feel posting my music on YouTube, Facebook, TikTok, that helped me out a lot. And I have other platforms that I'm on, like SoundCloud, Reverb Nation, Hulk Share, uh, places like that where you're going to find older music. Like I'm talking the very, very young legs. The first song, excuse me, I ever recorded and released is horrible. It's absolutely horrible. It was on a little USB microphone. It sat on like looked like you plugged it into the USB in the front and then you recorded into it. Ain't no specialty behind it. And I had a recording software by then and it just I tried to do too much on the first song and I just don't like it. But I'll never take it down because to me that's growth. I gotta see how far I've come. So if you ever listen to it, it's on my SoundCloud. Don't listen to it right now. Listen to it
You're like,
another
hold on,
time.
let me go do it right now. SoundCloud.
But yes,
Well,
I would probably crawl into my skin, you know. But I do believe if anybody who creates content creates music, yes, YouTube is such a great platform to do it on. It's a little congested. It's a little congested as a musician because everybody wants me to make music now. But post that content. Fuck it.
Yeah, that's kind of how we've done it. Like, um, the Pickles and Bacon show as it exists now has always existed in some form as a
Mhm,
podcast from like,
mhm.
from
it was never
2012.
the current format that we have currently.
It
Like,
wasn't
there's
the
been
current.
two different iterations of this, so this is
Got
the
it. Got
third
it.
iteration. So
Mhm.
Yeah, this format that we've developed, like talking about movies and music and TV and books and things like that, that we like, that we've always, we look through YouTube to see if there's any reactions to certain videos or
Right.
discussions about movies and
Right.
things like that. And we're like,
Mhm,
no, I haven't seen them. And I was like, well, why don't we do it? You know what I'm saying?
mhm.
Like, we just did a discussion recently about the 1934 version of Imitation of Life. Like, I've seen there's a
Nice.
couple of like reactions where they're like doing that, but I was like, I want to have a discussion about these movies,
Right.
or these things, because I don't feel like they're getting discussed, or I don't know if people are seeing them or whatever. And
Mhm.
right now we're like at 58 followers, and like I'm not worried
Wow.
about growing my count or whatever, but
Okay.
like,
Okay.
you know, to me, it's like this is stuff that me and Deke have always liked doing. That we always quote movies, we always quote things that
Mhm,
we've seen or wanted to
mhm.
see or whatever. And for us to finally find this format that we like, that we want to do, and that we're appearing on camera and we're actually putting out the content and actually working on it, I think this format has benefited us a little bit more better because I'm starting to notice that we're getting the views.
Yeah.
And then inviting like people like you and some of the other guest stars that we've had. And we've had some big guest stars like NT Lawyer and Tony Ortega and things like
Oh
that,
wow.
where we were asking them questions. And it's not like something that we're like, oh, we put out there or whatever, because like,
Mhm.
I do have a job during the day and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So like I don't always have that much time to be posting stuff or whatever. But
Mhm.
when Deke and I find people that we like to interview
sorry,
or
the
we want to
producer
talk
keeps
to,
entering the screen. So
we're like, let's have them on, let's talk to them, let's learn their story, let's learn about what they like to do or whatever.
Yeah.
And so finding our format, I think now in YouTube and how this Pickles and Bacon show Rewind has now come to this format. I think we're going to be staying here for a little while, and we have,
Nice.
things coming up that we want to do, and we also include music, like albums and music videos and things like that. We haven't posted an album yet for or music yet for October, because we had some little setbacks and things that we had to work through. Uh, during this month, so we're just catching up. But
Okay.
hopefully, things should be back to normal again. We'll be on our regular Sunday and Wednesday schedule. But
Nice.
and I'm learning things like we don't have the best lighting and things like that. But to me, it's never been about looking beautiful or like putting on a facade or whatever. This is who we
Right.
are. This is what you're gonna get.
Yeah, you're
You know
real
what I'm
about it.
saying? Yeah.
Hmm.
And
Yeah,
it's
that's
like,
true.
you know, beauty is not like to be honest with you, like I know I'm not beautiful. I will never meet those attractive standards or whatever. So like I can only give you what I am. So and that's
Mhm.
what I am. So but there will be sass and jokes. That's for sure.
As it should be, as it should be. But it goes without saying, beauty is only skin deep.
Yeah,
It really is. So if you feel you're beautiful, then who's to deny you your truth?
Exactly.
that is
There you
true.
go.
That is
There you
true.
go. So you can't never say you're not beautiful because you got those of us who know beauty comes from your heart, doesn't come from your chin. It doesn't come from your eyes or how pretty your cheekbones are. It don't come from that. That causes nature of attraction. That doesn't cause beauty. That doesn't mean beauty. I've met really pretty women. I've met really like good looking men, I don't swing that way, but I've met them. I know I'd be a liar if I told you, be like, oh, no, dudes are ugly. No, no, we're good looking when we want to be. Yeah.
Facts. Facts.
We're good looking when we
Thinking.
want to be. Deep knows we handsome. Yeah, we handsome when it comes down. Come on, bro. Come on.
Exactly.
That's what I'm
Facts.
saying.
Exactly.
Facts.
But when it comes down to meeting these people, you're just like, you're a good looking person. Your personality is going to be you approach with the hope that it's not, and then you sit with it. It's like you're talking to a bucket full of quarters, bro. You're just only interested. No, what, motherfucker? And beneath the quarters is a bunch of marbles. Ah, you're full of rocks. Get the hell out of here. And then you meet some other good looking people. You're like, oh, you're actually a really cool person. I like your personality. And then you meet
Yeah.
those that wouldn't fall as you said to meet the standards of beauty that probably the social world has put out there. You meet people like that, and you're just like, oh, this is how I felt. Because some people feel this is all I have, so I don't need anything else.
Yeah.
I don't need a personality, or I don't need humor. I don't need shit. I can be this wet towel for the rest of my life and go as far as I can go. But beauty's only going to get you so far. It's what you have inside that people want to keep around. I've met people with, oh damn, you feel, and I've asked this. I've asked this because most people are very like, oh, I know I'm not the prettiest. I know I'm not the hottest. People are very honest. Breaks my heart to hear it because I'm like, nah, don't say that. Nah, we're not like that around here. You don't need to. Your value isn't in how you look to me. But they've said, oh yeah, no, I feel like this is all I have to give. Is my personality, is my humor, is everything about me. This is all I have. So I'm going to give everything that I have. So some people feel that they're just going to emphasize the way people do with their looks. This is all you got to give, so this is going to be all you have to show. Well, this is all I have to give, so this is all I'm going to give. They're not showing you anything. They're just giving you who they are. And meeting somebody like that is rare, very rare. It's a personality trait that really it's not around anymore. Not as
No.
much as we want it to be. We want to meet somebody genuinely. But at the same time, we're creatures of habits. If we think someone's pretty or someone's handsome, we're just like, go ahead now. I see you. I see you. Give him
Facts.
a
Facts.
give him a real quick like, okay, I'll give you the 1-2 Scooby Doo. But we're creatures of habits. We're creatures of attraction. We like to see something prettier than ourselves, and that's where we value. Like I know I'm good looking. Dick, I know you're good looking. Pickles, I know you're good looking. But when we see people, and this is just again creatures of habit. I'm the same way. We get a little shallow. Doesn't matter who you are. We get a little bit shallow. But we're just like, nah. You got to be prettier than me. Can't be the other way around. It's called the law of attraction here. Can't be the other way around. And
Exactly.
it goes to like dating apps. People I hate this too. Where people are like, "Oh no, you fall you when you meet somebody, you you really fall in love with their personality, looks, or anything. I'm like, looks are the reason why you took them on a date. What are you talking about? Looks are the reason you
Yeah.
guys are thinking the way you're thinking. It just goes to dating apps. Nope, 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 nope. Ooh, nope, 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 nope. You don't learn about them. You don't read their
No.
bios. Hell
No.
no. You read it
That's
after you match with them.
But at the same time, I also say that's also the reason there's a lot of catfishing too, because
Oh
people are like, oh, they want to be one way, and then like when you meet them, like it's somebody else or something
Yeah.
totally different.
yeah.
And I kind of look at it as like almost a magician. Like they got you looking over here when the actual trick is going on over here.
You know,
It's true.
I mean, I don't like catfishing as like just to do it, but at the same time, as a woman who has seen and been on a few dating apps, like
Mhm.
I understand because I swear to God, I could write out, all this profiles, like I like long walks to the fridge and caves. Like I was melodic and I wrote all this down, and I can promise you, everyone that matches with me will ask you, "What are you looking for?" And I'm like, "I'm sorry, what did you say?" Because
Bios right
it's
here.
not gonna make me wanna date you, because then I'm gonna think that you can't read, and I need someone who needs to be able to read and drive the map and drive the car, because, like, when you say stuff to me like that, I'm like, "No, no."
Damn. I turned the engine off.
I'm
No.
like, "No," because I don't understand that, why they do that.
Right.
"Girl, what you looking for?" I'm like, "I just wrote, like, a freaking
Yeah.
novel about
Yep.
what I'm looking
Yep.
for in my life or whatever, and then you come at me asking me what am I looking for, like,
Mhm.
automatically, absolutely not.
Yeah,
No.
no. I totally 100% agree. I think it's just people, like I said, it's that mindless swiping and all that. Oh, we matched. What are you interested in? I'm not going to be show my interest in you. And that sucks because you're like, yeah, it's like you said, you're like, dude, it's all right here. Why ain't you reading it? And long walks to the fridge is wild.
I mean, I'm just saying, like, because I already, like, words are hard enough as it is, having dyslexia and being ADHD. So
Right.
I'm like, I'm gonna throw some humor in here and see if people pick up on it, which they never do, by the way. Because,
Damn.
like, be like, girl, what you looking for? Like, bye. This is why I was like, I have to get off the date. Or like, I'll put something, and I'll know if you actually read it,
Right.
because I follow Nicole Byer, like, on
hmm
her "Why Won't You Date Me" podcast,
hmm
and she puts wild things in her dating profiles. Like,
Right.
she put in one of her dating profiles, if you could be a baked potato for every day at the same time, or if you would turn into a penguin for 5 minutes a day, which one would you pick? And I'm like, "Ma'am, you need to stop because I'm laughing so
Wow.
hard." But, like, on the same time, I get it because, like, lead with humor. Like, you already know that somebody
Yeah.
actually did the work.
Yeah.
But
It's
I just thought
true.
that was so funny.
That is awesome. That's great. I personally don't do dating apps.
I don't either. I never would. They're beneath me.
Yeah, there have been a few accounts that were open under using my picture, and I was like, man, that's got to be a compliment. That has to be a compliment. Because really, in reality, it's go ahead. As long as you're not hurting somebody, if people aren't attracted to your profile, then that means they ain't attracted to me. That's how I know I'm safe. I'm good. Ain't nobody gonna come after you.
Exactly.
But
Exactly.
somebody actually told me the reason why women aren't attracted to me, it's because of my hair. Now I thought it was gonna be because people mistaken me as a woman all the time. Way beyond that. And I told him, I go, nah, no, 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 that's not why. I was like, my hair has always been, pretty well kept. And he says, no, he goes, it means you have prettier hair than them. They're intimidated. I go, oh, I don't think that's
That
true
makes
either.
sense.
That makes
I mean,
sense.
but that could be considered a microaggression because
Mhm.
it's the same thing with like, and I'm not being racist, but like with black girls and their like afros and how beautiful it looks, and then people in the workplace are like, oh my god, you need to keep your hair up because it's just
Mm,
wild and unkempt, and I'm like, that's a microaggression. Like, who
that
cares
is,
about your hair?
yeah,
I was like,
that's true.
as a woman who's always like, I had it shaved for a little while. I'm currently letting it grow back because I happen to also have a second job in a field where I can't really have my hair shaved.
Mhm.
Again, I would like to shave it all off again, but I can't. So I'm
Mhm.
just gonna let it be short for a little while. It's like, I think that's the dichotomy of having it like that. And if that bothers you, well, good. I'm glad because I did my job.
Because my hair's for me, it ain't for you. And
Exactly.
I mean, yeah, and I'm with you. Personally, me, there's even growing facial hair, even if I did that, people would still not believe that I'm a male. Yesterday while I was at work, I was hosting a Halloween event, and s- some older gal, like older lady, her and her daughter, they had one of those weird things going on. I don't need to say it out loud. I'm sure you guys can go ahead and just break that one
I
down.
think I got it.
You got it. You
Yeah.
got it. You got it. Well, one of them told me because I went outside because I had to go make sure nothing was popping off. Calls me over. She was just like, "How old are you?" Told her, "Are you single?" I'm like, "Yeah, yeah." She's like, "Well, my daughter and I want you." I was like, "Damn, am I a collectible? What? What? Uh, it's very flattering, but y'all don't know me like that. You don't say that to people. You don't say that to
Exactly.
people. Girl, you better be careful. You better stop it. Shit, if you're gonna be anything, girl, be careful. And I was like, and she was just like, "You're a girl, right?" I'm like, "No." "Are you serious?" I'm like, "Yeah, packing hardware. It's there." But since I was born, and the daughter was just like, "Mom," she goes, "Well, I gotta find out if he's for me or for you." I was like, "I'm for neither of y'all." See you later. And I was like, "Damn."
Deuces, right?
Well, fine, Jesus. But it's that no matter what I do, everybody's like, "No, that's a girl." I'm like, "Nah, fam. Nah, nah." I got my mama's voice. I've got my mom's hair, and I've got the way I look like her. It's actually called androgyny. It's being
Yeah.
androgynous, where you don't look like one or the other. You look like both. You have aspects of both. Someone's like, "No, you don't have an Adam's apple." I go, "No, no, no. I don't have a protruding Adam's apple. My shit ain't fucking like back in like
Yeah.
the early cartoons where the Adam's apple would do this and all that stuff." Yeah, I ain't got that.
Yeah.
I ain't got
Yeah.
that, man. Mine, I got more of a feminine prominent feature and all that, which it's fine. No, I've kicked myself over the years and just like why why I can't be like everybody else. Why I can't feel or look like every man in the world. Like that's what I want to feel because I am one. And then I just came down to the conclusion of it just ain't gonna happen. I personally need to be okay with that. And so I am. I am. Those who know, they know. But I mean, I've pulled some, not even me pulling, they pulled me. And I don't mean to say this shallow, I've never dated an unattractive woman ever in my life. Never been in relationships, never had anything with anybody who was not attractive. 'Cause and that's just kind of how that went over time. Like with my ex-fiance, she pulled me. Shit, she reached out to me. I was like, "You know how good you look, girl, and you're coming after me. Like I look like that. Like you better go sit somewhere." And sure enough, so I'm like, okay. And she was like, "No, no, no. I knew you were a man to start. I could see it." She goes, "It's how you talk." She goes, "You can see it in your face." She goes, I can see those soft features." She goes, "But I see you." And I mean, being seen in that kind of light, it changes something in somebody because like someone like me, I fight for that. I fight for that daily. I'm not part of any communities because I'm straight. I'm a straight. What do they call it? Cisgendered.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Whatever the
Yeah.
hell that is. Y'all just making up words. Words are all made up. So, um,
Cis hetero, I think mostly is the main one.
heterosexual
Yeah.
male is what I know about, and I've always been that. So to have no support and to have people beating at my door like you're not who you are. You're not who you think you are. You look like a woman because you were born to be one. I'm like, oh, we'll wait for that. We ain't going anywhere. And so I don't have, and I know that kind of sounds real shitty to say that, straight people don't have a community, because I'm not saying that. I'm saying me, myself. I don't have a
Yeah.
community to lean on and be like, you guys see this? No, I just got other people who also are just heterosexual, men and women who also think I'm a woman. I'm like, I can't win with none of y'all. So to be seen and to be heard and to be understood, it's gold out of silver. Like it's
Yeah.
the better of both worlds for sure.
Yeah, I feel when people say things like that or do things like that, they haven't been exposed to it. Deke and I are half Mexican and half Puerto Rican, and I'm telling you, like, don't let this white skin fool you. Like, we
Same.
have, we have Afro Latinos in our family. The Puerto Rican side is very
Yeah.
mixed. My dad's brothers look darker than he is. And so growing up, you're exposed to all kinds of different peoples and looks and so on and so on. So like, you see some men look more feminine and some women look more masculine, and it's just a gambit of things like that. And for anyone to assume anybody's gender, first of all, just pisses me off. Like, just, who cares? Can't you just let that
Right.
person exist in the space that they're in? That's the first
True.
thing. It's just like, seeing in a movie where there's not a lot of fat people in movies that, other than like hairspray and a couple of things like that, where they just get to exist in the space that they're in, and they get to live their life and have, good things, where the plot's not like, oh, but they're fat and they can't do this or they can't do that, or why do they get to be this,
Yeah.
like,
Right.
and that's why I think it's important for everyone to be able to reach out and be like, just talk to people, listen to them, see what's going on. Who cares what they look like? Just
Yeah.
just listen.
Yeah.
Because if you don't listen, you don't reach out, you're not educated, and not educated like in a book sense, but like educated as to, people look different, people
Yeah.
are born different, and it
Yeah.
doesn't matter.
Yeah.
I've in especially in my jobs and things like that, I've encountered, women who look, feminine. They look exactly like a woman, but they have a deep voice and you can hear them on the phone. You're like, "Oh, I'm sorry, Mr. Jones." It's like, "I'm a woman." And you're like, "My bad.
Well,
I didn't mean it
damn.
like
Okay.
that." But you're
Yeah.
just like, "I'm just going off by what I hear. You're not in
Yeah.
front of me, so I can't, and even
Yeah.
if I did, it's not my business."
Right. No, I feel that. I personally, I don't get offended when people, when people think I'm a woman or not. I just look at it like, I'm pretty. I tell everybody, I go, no, no, no. I just look like my mom's. I just look like my mom. That's all it is. I didn't take on my father's features. I got his personalities. Did I say personalities with an S? Because damn it, there was a lot of them that came in and a lot of them
Kind of
that went out.
same. Like, same with
Yeah.
us. Like, I'm not gonna lie to you. Like, we look like our mom, but we got our dad's stubbornness and our dad's like, moodiness. And I'm like,
Yeah.
yeah, I know.
Yeah. Yeah. That's exactly, I think, a characteristic trait that most Latino men and women, we get it from our father. Even when you don't grow up, some people who don't grow up with a father, even like kind of like me, I grew up without my dad. I've always known my dad. I've always had the
Yeah,
ability to reach
same.
out. But I heard this quote. I don't know if I can. No, I can't. It's talking about this quote, because Latino parents like to guilt trip you. We kind of hit that
Yeah.
point at some point. We're just like, "You're trying too hard." Well, it was talking about, because my dad says it all. The door swings both ways. Like, no, the door don't swing both ways. I used to knock on that door. You never answered that door. You know what I mean? Like, I tried
Exactly.
to open that door and reach through that door at time and time again, and you never answered. And now when it's convenient to you, it's supposed to. Like, no, the door don't swing both ways. So I feel like that right there, attaching itself to people from the Latino culture, people from, the Black community, honestly, and most communities. I don't think people in the, like white folk, nothing against them. If they take offense to being called white folk, then don't be white folk. Um, I don't think a lot of people have that reality of, the doors having to swing both ways. It's honestly, I kid you not, it's usually with their moms. That's kind of like what I've seen, like, even because I'm part white, part Mexican, so I see it on that white side of my family. I'm like, why you always beefing with your mom, but your dad's your best friend? It's the other way around for us. It's for most of us. So when we have our fathers being who they were, rubbing off on us, we kind of look back like, shit, I don't want to be like you, dude. I want to be my own person. I want to be just like me. So what the only way we have to do is to change. But how do you change stubbornness? How do you change, that personality without changing who you actually are, without the fibers of you
Yeah.
actually change? And the only way to fucking change is to change, and you got to change for you. I had to do it. I got my father's anger. That shit was scary.
Same.
Mm-hmm.
Like, this is kind of why Pickles and I we don't drink, because I'm not gonna lie to you. I'm gonna be straight up with you. Our father was an alcoholic,
Mm,
and the way that we would get away from that, and I've always told this to Pickles, was like, I'm not gonna drink.
Yeah.
Yeah, on occasion maybe I'll have a beer, but it doesn't go beyond that.
Yeah.
And I never wanted to go beyond that because I saw how he was.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I'm not gonna lie to you, and I know this is gonna sound harsh, but I kind of hate him for what he used to be when
Mm,
he was drunk like that. Like, I
mhm.
seen both sides of that coin, and I was like, I'm sorry, but I was like, I know it's wrong, and I know that I shouldn't be saying that because hate's such a strong word. But I was like, I hated who he was, and I kind of still have resentment toward him for a lot of
Right.
things.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna go into detail on that. So
Right. Yeah. I
Yeah.
got you.
And yeah, it's and I've never had alcohol in the house. Like, I don't like
Mm-hmm.
drinking, and not only that,
Mm-hmm.
but it's because my son, I had my son when I was 21, and Deke for the most part has helped me raise him. And I never wanted to be that parent that was like, "Oh, I can't do anything," or like, "Never do anything with your child because they're always drunk or always see you with a beer in hand or
Right.
whatever." And I know that I know that, you're allowed to drink or whatever,
Right.
and some things, like, you always see them, like, in a show or in a movie,
Right.
cracking a
Right.
beer and things like that. But I don't want my son's memories of me, like, being like, "Oh, she was always with the beer in her hand, or she was always drinking,
Right.
or she was
Right.
always doing." And I'm like, "No, like, if you're gonna fault me for something, fault me for, like, the actual, things or whatever that I've done, but not because, oh, they had a beer in their hand, or, this, that, the other." Like,
Mm-hmm.
that's been an example that I've always wanted to set for my son, and I've done it. And I was like,
Right.
I don't drink in the house. We never have alcohol. People have given us alcohol, as presents or things like that. And sometimes they'll just sit in the back of the fridge until we can find somebody to give it to. Or, I've
Yeah.
had people, when I was testing products, send me like wine to try or whatever. And I was like, don't drink, but here, we'll give the bottles to so and so or whatever.
Yeah.
Like, even in one of my jobs, I had to do wine tasting, and I was like, that's like literally only one of the few times that I've allowed it, because it's for my job and I have to, what it
Mm-hmm.
tastes like, and
Mm-hmm.
offer it as a food selection. But
Right.
would I personally order a glass of wine? Absolutely not. Like,
Right. Right.
no. But if we were in a social situation and it did require for me to at least hold the glass, I could hold the glass and maybe take a sip, for a photo or whatever, and then that's it. Like, somebody go get me some water or something,
Yeah. For sure. For sure. Oh, I totally hear you on that. It's because of the vices that gripped onto us for so long. And those vices didn't have to happen to us. They had to happen around us. That's the cool thing, I think, because I'm assuming me, you, and Deke, we're all the same age,
Yeah.
right? Yeah.
I'm like
Yeah.
36. She's
I'm
38.
38.
Okay, perfect. So we're all well within we're all 2 years apart. I'm 2 years apart from Deke, he's 2 apart from you, or other way around. Yeah. So we
Yeah.
all we're gonna understand next what I'm gonna say.
Basically on the same spectrum of age.
There you go.
Yeah. Like, we're in that, like, 86 to 90, 91 range.
90.
Yeah.
Yep. Cool. So what I've always felt, and I tell this to my sisters, because I'm one of five. You know, there's my older sister, me, younger sister, baby brother, baby sister. That's it. And I have step siblings too, who I love dearly. But what I've always felt, and I've always told this to them, the reason, and again, veering, but in the same point here, my, you know how we always have dad side, mom side, right? Well, dad's side, I love them. I love my Brown family. I do. They've always been very judgmental, and assumptive about me and my siblings. I remember them saying we were gonna be on drugs, we were gonna be working at McDonald's, we were gonna have a bunch of kids with a bunch of babies' moms and babies' dads, and on welfare and all this, that, and the other. We were 12, 13 years old being told that,
Oh yeah, for sure. For sure.
So I'm like, did it feel good for you to beat on a 13-year-old? Did you just didn't hit me? You did though. So we had those, expectations to meet in our family, but their children could do no wrong. And that was, I get it, you're gonna defend yours and yours to the end, but we're also yours. We share a bloodline here. It's a pretty thick ass bloodline if you ask me, because our name goes from Villalobos to Villalobos to the V's, and it's really odd that there's an interchange there. Now we got to deal with that side, but the expectation on mom's side of the family, we didn't have that, because they really kept us from that side of my family, my mom's side, and they're just like, be you, be who you want to be. If you want to go do this, but just do it with, make sure you know why you're doing it, right? So I feel, and going back to the point, I used to tell my siblings the reason we didn't turn out at all, really, the way that our parents did, and our friends' parents did, and some of our friends, is because we got to learn from mistakes we didn't make. We got to
Yeah.
witness it and be like, oh, yeah, I ain't doing that shit. No. uh-uh.
Exactly.
For real. For
know,
real.
We got to experience it firsthand, and we're like, I don't want to go through that. I remember my mom was going through it. My mom had us very, very early. My mom's only 50. My older sister is 36.
Yeah.
So my mom had us early. Pops had us early. Dad was a hustler. Dad always had some work going on, but dad was also, very greedy at his point in life. And I think he still got a little greed in him that affects him, but I love my father. But we gotta learn that greed took our father away. Pops did all he did and ended up getting sent to prison and then deported. And it sucks. We lost Pops. So we don't get greedy. We're very open and we're very sharing with our siblings, with people, donating our
Yeah.
time, if you need it. If you got it, if I got it, I got you. I've always lived by that. And then we got to see mom go through alcohol and drugs, but we're like, fuck. I remember nights, days, my mom benders and all that stuff. I'm taking my brother to school and I'm going to work. I had to drop out of school to make that
Yeah.
happen. I had a,
Yeah.
we grew up fast. We had no choice but to grow up. So
Oh yeah.
I think for people like us, with not being given a choice, and this became a stigma, without being given a choice but to grow up fast, we felt like we were never given a choice to do anything, because we just had to follow in the footsteps of society, follow in the footsteps of what our family did. If it's like,
Yeah.
you got to work early, so you don't have to work forever. Well, that's a really shitty way to do it. You shouldn't have to work until you're 18 and you understand the work source. Why are you working at 15 and 16? You don't need to unless you want to. And there's a million other jobs. Me and my friend were talking about, man, don't you think that, like, when kids were being sent to school, and like when we were getting sent to school and getting early and all that stuff, we were being trained how to get up for a job.
Yeah.
It's the industrial system just happening. It's never gonna end, whatever. But what we were never taught is how not to be like somebody. We were never taught that. We were able to witness it and learn for ourselves. So that's why we and my siblings, we didn't become what my dad's side of the family assumed us. I don't have children. I was never on drugs. Most thing I ever did was smoke a little green. That's it. That's it. I've never done anything, and I'm proud to say that. I drink, on occasion. I never got too heavy into alcohol, and neither did any of my siblings. None of them ever hit hard drugs. They all, just like me, we all smoked weed, and we all drink on occasions. But we know what it does to us because we saw it happen through our mom. So we know, okay, we're gonna drink. We're not gonna black out. We don't need to do all that. So we got to avoid doing things that people swore we would do. And honestly, it was just an animosity they didn't like my mom's side of the family. So they're just like, you see how bad they are, you see the way they live, like we don't live in golden ivory ourselves. What are you talking about? Shit, I heard you complain about the power bill. What you talking about? I go to my mom's house,
Exactly.
I complain about the power bill. Tripping. Go sit somewhere. And it's that. I think like for our generation, we gotta pick and choose the traits we got from our family. Like, fuck, I want to be this. Yeah, I want to be that too. Don't want that. I want this. We got to do that. We got to create. It was like a video game when you get to create your own character. But you got to build who you were. Even if you grew up fast, that shit taught you something. Growing up fast taught you something. And I think I'm honestly, I'm honored. I'm blessed to be able to meet people who are like me, who can relate to me and all that stuff. Because I'm like, yeah, you went through it too. All right, cool.
Yeah,
You went through
Yeah, like I tell this to my nephew. I'm like, see, I'm like, I have street smarts. I was like, because I was basically walking to my house to school, so I'm street smart. So like, if somebody tries to like hustle me, I'm like, no, I'm cool. I'm like, no, you do you. I'm gonna do me. I'm just gonna be over here minding my business.
Facts.
Yeah.
That's
I was telling a boss at work that I'm friends with, I was like, about 3 years ago during the pandemic when we lived in an apartment, I tripped and fell down the stairs and I hurt my ankle. And I
Yeah.
was like, I got back up. I was in
Mhm.
so much excruciating pain. I got up, I drove the van to pick up my son. I came home and I was like, and I still worked. I was like, I still went to work. I still, I was like, I just put some ice on it and I grinned and
Mhm.
bared it through the pain. And like, I put a
Yeah.
brace on my ankle because I was like, I don't have the choice. It was like, if I don't work, the
Mhm.
mortgage doesn't get paid. There's no
Mhm.
food.
Mhm.
My son suffers. We
Yeah.
all suffer. And I was like, I
Right.
don't have that choice. And not
Facts.
only that, but like even the medication, don't give me no painkillers. Don't give me anything like
Mm,
that. Like I have a high tolerance for pain,
for sure.
but I'm always scared of taking medication, like apart from like Tylenol or ibuprofen. And I'm like, because I don't want to, I don't. I don't think anyone's ever gotten addicted to pills in my family, but I'm not trying to test it. You know what
Right.
I'm
You're like,
saying?
I'm not trying to be the damn bunny right here. We don't mean to do all that. No.
Yeah, and I've seen what it does to people, and I'm very hyper vigilant and like living off. I was like, I know it sounds good to collect a check for Social Security. I was like, but that has to last you the month. I was
Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
what am I supposed to do for money for the rest of the month? And they limit you to what you can have. And I was like, absolutely the hell not. Like, I want to have, I know it's maybe an extra $20, but at least I had that money. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying?
That's true. Yeah, definitely. And you should always take medical emergencies serious. You can be walking around
Well,
with an ankle
that's
like
kind
that,
of
girl. What do you walk like this?
that's
I don't
kind of
want you to do
where
that.
her and I
Well,
are the same
I went,
because when
I
when I
did go
was
to the hospital
Okay, good.
and the
Good.
doctor.
Making
Like,
sure.
I
Making sure.
wasn't that crazy, but
Okay.
like,
Making
you
sure.
know,
Kind of
well,
hardcore, but okay.
like 4 years ago when I was dealing with my high blood pressure and hypertension, I didn't want to go to the doctor. I was like, whatever's
Mm,
gonna happen is gonna happen. Like it was literally to the
damn.
point where even though I was like holding on to walls to walk, I was like, nah, I'm not going to no hospital. Screw that.
Damn.
And
Hey,
then
but you
finally, I heard that something in here say, no, you need to go get
you
checked.
need to go. Yeah.
So finally, I was like, okay, fine. I swallowed my pride. I was like, okay, let me go. You want to know what the nurse told me?
What's
Like
up?
literally after my sister left, she told me, she's like, you're lucky you came in today. She's like, because if you hadn't come in today, you would have been dead.
See? We need you here
yeah,
long term.
yeah.
Long
Mhm.
term, Deep. Be a
He already
damn doctor.
He and I already have a pact. If he dies, I'm gonna have to die with him because I'm not living this life without him. He is my
Damn.
best friend.
Hell yeah.
He's
Those hardcore
he's my
facts.
brother and my
Yeah,
best
man.
friend and
There
like
you
my
go.
ride or die. And
I
like
love that.
I practically raised this kid growing up. Like
Yeah.
She did,
literally,
and she's had my back since I was 5, and I've had
if
hers
it wasn't
since
for
20.
Man.
me,
Yeah.
like him and my mom would not have had half of the things that they ever had.
Damn.
Because I started working early and things like that. And so I
Yeah.
bought the TVs. I bought, I made
Mm.
sure that we had an apartment. I found the
Hmm.
apartments. I found the
Yeah.
house, things like that.
Yeah.
And I was like, so then my mom died in
Mm.
2015, which I'm kind of
Condolences.
glad she did.
Thank you.
Otherwise, I would have had to put her in a nursing home.
Oh.
I don't like to discuss my mom a lot because,
Hmm.
I just I can't even explain it, but I'll just say
Right.
this.
Right.
If you've ever seen the movie What's Eating Gilbert Grape with
Mm.
Leonardo DiCaprio and Johnny Depp,
Mm-hmm. Oh
the
yeah,
mom
very
in that
young.
movie,
Yeah,
the
yeah.
mom in that movie was our mom.
Oh
Not
man.
not the physical actress,
No, no,
but
no, no, definitely not. The
in that same
yeah.
situation. And like, it's hard. And I was like, I was getting to the point where I was like, I can't go through this no more with you. I have to make sure that um Chris is, or Deke is safe, and my son is safe, and that we can do things like that, because like at this point, like, you're just in the house and I can't get you out. Like, I can't,
Yeah.
get you in your wheelchair, and like
Yeah.
I can't afford to be dealing with that. And
Mm-hmm.
so, and then, she passed away, and I was like, okay, I hate to say it, but burden lifted. Now I just have to worry for me and Deke and my son or whatever. And
Right.
then my dad, like, me and my dad had never had that, like, I don't think we've ever really had a relationship per se. Like, I've
Mm-hmm.
always known that he
Mm-hmm.
was my dad, and Deke always
Right.
knew that he was his dad or whatever.
Yeah, yeah,
And
yeah. For sure.
we saw him as much as we could or whatever, but I don't feel like, he wasn't there with us for day to day and things like that. And then he started getting sick, with dementia and things like that. So we had
Mm.
to bring him to move in with us, and he lived with us for a year, and now he's in a nursing home. And I hate to say it, but I won't go see him because, like, I have so much animosity. It's like, this man was a drunk. He was an alcoholic. Yeah, he worked and things
Abusive.
like that. He was
Mm.
abusive and
Mm.
abusive to, like, his brother or whatever, and that's fine.
Right.
And he was
That's it.
very close to his side of his family, and that's,
Mm.
like, I understand that or whatever, but I still feel the resentment of he could have done more.
Yeah.
Seeing what we were going through with my mom and the way she
Right.
was or whatever, and continue to let this happen. I still hold a grudge for that, and I know that I can't. I know I should let it go or whatever, but I was like, I
Right.
can't. And I was like, I only brought him here with us in San Antonio, so like I can keep an eye on him.
Yeah.
And because it's the thing, as a girl, when you're in these Hispanic families,
Right.
it's especially the oldest, it falls on you to take care of them. And I'm like, this is my second go
Yeah.
around.
Yep.
After this, I'm freaking done. Like, I'm not taking care of anybody else. It's
Nah,
just me and Deke and my son and the animals, and that's it. Like,
that's
I'm
it.
done taking care of, you know,
I don't want no more parents coming out
relatives.
the woodwork.
Exactly.
No
Like,
more
I don't
We're
parents.
even
good. We're good.
they never remarried. I never liked
Oh,
them.
that's
I
good.
never liked the ones that we had to begin with. I'm just saying, like,
You're just like shit. We don't need more. We don't need
Yeah.
any
I don't
girls.
need more. I
And
don't need.
And
that's
to be honest, I haven't really gone to visit my father. Like, people have asked me, they're like, "Do you go see him at the nursing home?" To be honest, no, I don't.
mm,
Mm-mm.
And I
it's
hate to
hard.
say it, and I know that I'm going to sound like an a-hole saying this
Mm,
live here on YouTube, but how do you how do you come to terms with and go visit someone who's literally told you your entire life, "Oh, you're not my family," or "I don't care
mm,
if you wind up in the street because you're not mine." How do
yeah.
you come to terms with something like that? Like,
Yeah, for real, for real.
I'll be honest. I hear you. I do. That is very loud spoken, well spoken, and your feelings on that are valid. Both of y'all's are. I I agree with you in that sense. It's really hard to forgive somebody who's ever emotionally, physically, mentally ever hurt you,
mhm.
was abusive to you. It's almost impossible. But that's actually a big growth period in your life for feeling that way. Because really in reality, when we're kids, when all this is happening, at least for me in my experience, my dad used to beat the hell out of me too. I never understood why. He remarried and I didn't like the bitch. I truly believe she's the reason he got locked up. That's just me. Um, but I feel like my father hated me in a sense, and it made no sense to me. I wouldn't be wasn't a bad kid. I wasn't shit. I just wanted my dad home. He was always at work. He was always gone. And we lived in the skirts, man. There's a town called Hera where I'm from. Okay. Hera breaks off into a bordering city called Wapato, which is just off of Lateral B, which is, I don't know. Lateral B is about 15 minutes from where I'm at now. Right? Not far. Hera is about 25 minutes in. So we're looking at 40 minutes away from my family. We're kids. Only family I have is who's in my house. That's how that works. Well, he was gone all day. He was never home. And when he was home, he was always locked in the room with her, or they were doing something, and just whatever, I just always wanted my father's attention. Well, things would happen, like, she's not my stepmom, but his ex, her, she is now referred to as her. She made me and my sister food one time, a hot ass soup on a hot ass day in the middle of the fucking skirts, which is damn near a desert on its own. Hot as hell over there too. Well, no
Almost in
damn,
Texas.
bro,
Yeah,
I'm
for
telling
sure.
you, like, ain't no business being that fucking hot in the middle of nowhere.
Exactly.
Fuck. Well, she made us soup, at caldo. And okay, she told me she had a tray going over our heads. Two big ass bowls going over two little kids' heads. And she tells me, get up and move. So what I'm gonna do? Duck, I didn't see. I got up. Boom, head butted the shit and it poured onto my sister. Burnt the hell out of my sister. She told my dad that I said I didn't want it. I flipped it out of her hands. And my sister cried and screamed and told my dad, well, he was beating my ass. That is not what happened. You never listened to me. Never heard him. Never heard me. Right? That was kind of our demeanor between my
Yeah.
father and I. He wouldn't listen to me. Okay. You don't want to listen to me. I'm not the person you want to listen to. That's just how that goes now. I've accepted that. So when it came down to it and I lost him, he tried to be dad over the phone. I can't deal with that. I can't respect somebody over the phone. I need you here. You're not here for a reason. You chose your path and it landed you there. And I was 13, crying on my aunt's step. I even put it in a song. It's I think it's my song, How Could You? And I talk about the time, like the first time I ever had a broken heart was from my father. And I'm sure that's how most of us are. So when
Yeah.
it comes down and going back to what we were talking about, I couldn't forgive my father. I could not. I couldn't forgive him for what he did to me. I didn't deserve it. That's for damn sure. That's the one thing that was what I felt in the end. I didn't deserve any of that. None of that. I was a kid. I was literally a child. I didn't need saving. I needed to be protected, and I didn't get that. So I've always felt to myself, I can't forgive him. I can't. And then one day I saw a friend go through something very similar. I didn't lose his dad, and he had so much to say about that. And it sounded so ugly and so vile and so hateful. I'm like, okay, don't get me wrong. My dad beat the life out of me. That man fucked me up. Ain't no gonna keep him and let him have that the rest of his life. That is his burden to bear. But damn, I don't want to sound like that. I went to his funeral. My buddy didn't say a damn word. He just stood there stoic, very just stoic in the face. I'm like, that's your dad, bro. You ain't never gonna be able to see him again. This is the last time. They're giving you an open casket, giving you a chance. I've always felt open caskets are final chance. And he got up and was just like, yeah, that's fine. And just walked the fuck out of the funeral. Just looking at him, I was like, oh my God. Yeah, I can't do that. We're too much of a loving person to do that, is what I told myself. So to this day, I can't forgive my father. That path of forgiveness has to start with him. I forgave myself. I had to learn to forgive me for feeling like I gave all of that power to that man. For feeling like I had no other way to be but that because of him. I forgave myself for not allowing my happiness to really exist for so long. I forgave myself for taking away that happiness from me and the ability to love somebody. I forgave myself for the people that I mistreated and the people that I hurt. Granted, I've never laid hands. I've been into 2-3 fights my whole life. 3. That's it. I'm not a fighter. I don't know if my father was, but he sure showed my mom a thing or two. never, none of my partners ever got that, but they got the attitude, they got the anger, they got the arguments. And don't get me wrong, they fought back. Women knew how to fight.
Gave as good as they got.
Shit, they did. And I had to learn to forgive me in order to even begin forgiving him. But personally, I don't feel it just started with him. I think she had a really big role into how he treated me. So I think a lot of it happened once we met her to us, because with my dad, my dad and my dad's family, they were taking us away from my mom, like damn near kidnapping us, like it was bad. So to what you had said, Deke, I think it's very, it's commendable that you yourself feel that you can't forgive somebody in that light. You can forgive you. And that's the thing that you have. So when the time comes, then God willing that it goes peacefully, and it's not a stretched out, painful process when he goes. I do hope you find in yourself to be like, all right, you go rest now. You deserve that much. You know what I mean? That's giving yourself that last little bout of peace and be like, cool. It's kind of like Pickle said. She's one less burden I need to worry about. And look, as harsh as that is to say out loud, I get it. As Latinos, I get it. We take care of our family. We have to take care of our. It's embedded in us. You guys went through that with your mom. I was going through it with my mom until she moved. And now I struggle to even talk to her, because she's just an organ. She's a state away, but I feel like she's millions of miles away. I've never been this far apart from my mom for this long, and it sucks. But we take care of our parents, especially when they're in their lowest or they're in their finals, their final days. And really, that's because we were taught that. We really were taught that. Anything else,
it's just like I can't show emotion. Like I've had people tell me that, like, why do you kind of come off as like being this like cold type person? I was like, because I was always raised not to show emotion. Don't cry because of this, or don't show emotion for that, or don't let people see you wear your heart on your sleeve or whatever. So like, if I come off as cold, or I come off as like, I don't care, that's why, because it's how I was raised.
Yeah.
I'm trying to break myself off of that and be like, hey, no, you got to show love to people and be like, hey, you know what? I can give love as well as I can accept love. But at the same time, like, I just don't like showing the emotion, if that makes sense.
That does.
Yeah. And I was sort of the same way, and it goes back to me like showing my son, like I want my son to know, oh, my mom and my uncle, we went to Monster Jam, we went to concerts, we went to the movies, we always went here, because I don't have those memories with my mom. And I always want it to be where Deke and my son can tell me, give me some exciting news or something that they happen, and be happy for them, and like, guide them, because I always felt when I told my mom things that it was never like, oh, well, congratulations, I'm so proud of you, I'm so happy about it. It was always like, okay, and like, great, one more thing you get to do that I never got to do, because I was a child of the 60s and 70s. That's constantly how I felt about it. So I never said anything about like the good things that were happening, like in my work life, or things like that. I just compartmentalized it. And now I'm like, oh, I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna do that. I'm telling that, because I think they're happy, and like I just want to see other people's reactions, because I never got that.
I feel that. And that's the shitty thing. I've seen people, it's like it's that whole, well, I didn't get to do it. But like, yeah, I know. I do. You're supposed to be happy that it can be done, and it's being done from your seed. Like, I'm yours. You should be like, my daughter, my son, they did that. And that right there, it's a pride that most of us, never really got, because our parents never got to have. So they didn't really know, like, am I supposed to be happy about that? That sounds like something that was the shit I got. That sounds like something you're supposed to do.
Yeah. I mean, another, like, okay, like, even if you can't, like, even if she didn't outright say it, like, I never got to do these things or whatever, but I always sensed it. I always sensed that jealousy, like,
Animosity.
and the animosity, like, I was never afraid to try things. I was never afraid to, like, speak my mind and stand up for the things that I don't believe in, or tell her, hey, that doesn't sound right. Or just because this person says just because this, like, I was I used to explain to her when she was starting to get
Mhm.
sick, and she would tell the doctor, or she said, I told the doctor about this medication or whatever. And I was like, you have the right not to take the medication. I was like, they can't hold you to that. I was like, if this medicine is making you feel a certain type of way, you have to tell them and you have to stop taking the medicine. I was like, I don't care if they're a doctor. I don't care who they
Yeah.
are. I was
Yeah.
like, they don't have autonomy over you. I was like, you are your own person. If
Facts.
something does not make you feel right, you do not have to take it. I don't care who they are.
Right.
And like I have to be like, and then also at the same time I also felt like another parent toward her because she also had like autism and things
Mm.
like that. So it was like,
Mm-hmm.
having to be like, no, this is what's supposed to be, and that's why I think I grew up so fast or whatever. But like,
Yeah.
I was like, I'm so glad it's just me and Deke and my son now, and like we figure stuff out or whatever. And she always used to say, "Oh, what are you guys gonna do without me?" And I'm like, "We're here."
We're already doing it, so we're
Yeah,
just gonna keep doing it. And honestly, I think our parents and the elders in our lives at that age, I think they've just we're not okay with it because we will argue it. We're not okay with complacency. We won't do that. We won't be like, yeah, fine. Okay, sure. Uh-huh. No, hell no. I had to tell my mom the same thing because my mom was having some real bad health problems. Like I was scared I was about to lose my mom. My mom's my best friend. She really is. That woman, God bless her soul, she took me from my father's family. My uncle kicked me out when I was 15 and she took me in, and that's all I needed. That's where my life to me began. I didn't learn those life lessons from my father's family. I learned them from her. I learned how to love from her. She got to mend most of the pain that I was, going through. So when it came down to her, almost dying a couple of times, she was having seizures, and more times than not, my mom's very, very, very independent. So she has a hard time being dependent on anybody. Well, we couldn't leave her alone. We didn't know what the hell was happening. She had 3 seizures in a year. Terrified the hell out of me. I didn't know how to handle them. I was never there for an actual live seizure. I think if that would have been the case, I would have lost my mind. The day my brother called me, I was working. I was finishing up my shift. I was gonna get ready to go to work. Work my night job. It was a Friday, I think. My brother calls me like, calm, because he knew if he was gonna be panicky, I would have been 10 times worse. And he told me mom either had a seizure or a heart attack. And I physically moved out of my chair and just started crying. I was scared. And I called my boss, like, I gotta go. I'm on a call right now and I need to fucking go. Like I need to go take it. She goes, oh, well, what is it? No, just take the goddamn call, otherwise I'm hanging up and I'm out of here. Got out of there, called my friend. I needed somebody to calm me down, and the only person I could think of was my friend Bree at the time. And I was like, just freaking out, and I had to no end. So my mom means that much to me. So every time she had a seizure, that she would progressively like deteriorate more and more and more. She was like becoming like this. She wouldn't be able to keep her head up, and I was scared because what happens every time you go to an ER? Well, typically they prescribe you something, give you
yeah,
meds. She was having she had like double and triple types of meds that were doing the exact same thing, that were causing multiple reactions to her because she's overdosing herself. She's not overdosing, she overdosed herself on the medication to the point where she's just like, I'm just doing what the doctors are telling me. And my siblings thought she was falling off again. They thought she's been sober 8 years. So they
yeah,
were like, no, this is happening. I was like, no, this wouldn't be it. You guys weren't there for it. Me and my brother wouldn't know. My brother's like, it's kind of looking like it. I'm like, it ain't. I call that denial, but I was like, it ain't. So we started seeing her doctors. We saw neurologists. We found out they weren't actual seizures, like neurological seizures. They were faux seizures, which are heart-based seizures, emotion-based. So they put her on a stenographer. Yeah, sure, that's what it is. What are those things called?
Pacemaker.
pacemaker.
Don't know. I'm reading something right here. It said stenography. My apologies. They put that on her and they started being like, yeah, no, it's really weird. Your heart reacts. Well, eventually we found out the seizures were emotion based. So I was like, cool, cut her down off of her meds. Now, she's doing shit on her own. And that goes to the point of she was just complacent with what they were saying. So I was like, Ma, this could have killed you. You don't know this. Like, you need to ask questions. And that opened a whole new doorway for my mother to ask me questions on everything. Son, is this real? Do you have a PayPal account, Mom? No? Then it's not fucking real. Like, don't do that shit. What are you doing? Well, I wanted it. You are on social. Don't. You are an SSI woman. Don't do that shit. They're gonna take your money away. Let me open a bank account. Well, the check seems real. Yeah, but the intention ain't. Put it away. So, like, if you came, and that, trust me, I'd rather be that for my mother than anybody else. She's living with my aunt now, who my aunt is way smarter than I am. So I was like, cool, you get to do it that part. But it's our generation refuses complacency because we're like, no, fuck no, we're gonna ask questions. We are going to let you know, like, no, I'm not.
Because how are you gonna know if you don't ask?
Exactly. Like, I'm not going through this shit with my eyes closed. Did you just tell me to sprint with my shoes tied? Hell no, I'm take my shoes off and take off. Shit.
Exactly. I don't care if you are the doctor. I don't care if you are the lawyer. Like, why? Like, okay, I've looked at the side effects. It's gonna make me dizzy. It's gonna make me nauseous. It's gonna make me throw up. And those are the things I'm trying to cure. Like, why do I like? No, I'm not gonna do that. Are you kidding me?
True.
Or
I want this shit.
or like your bipolar medicine, it's gonna make you this, and this. I'm like, listen, I'm not bipolar. I'm telling you that this is how I'm feeling. You don't need to put me on a medication that's gonna make me feel like a zombie. Like, who does that?
Yeah,
Who does
man.
That's why when I had my weight loss surgery, she was like, talk to the doctor. She's like, if they put you on a medicine that you don't like, or they put you on a painkiller, she's like, tell them that you don't want it. She's like, refuse it. And to be honest, this might just be me. I didn't really want the painkiller. I was like, nah, I'm good. Like, I was literally walking around right after the weight loss surgery. I was like, nah, I'm good. I was like, keep your medicines. I'm gonna be walking around the hospital. Let me know when I'm discharged.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, and it wasn't like an invasive surgery or anything like that. Even when I had my C-section, they gave me Darvocet, and I took the medicine as prescribed or whatever. But when it ran out, I was like, I just took Tylenol or whatever. It wasn't even that big a deal. But yeah, like, I feel that those are the things that shape us in our lives and things like that. You guys, I'm getting a little, it's cutting it close here, so this therapy session has to end.
All right. It's okay. Well, the doctor will be in session anytime you need him. Me personally, thank you guys so much for having me. I had a great time. You guys are my first actual podcast that I was ever on, so thank you guys for being that. I'm happy to help my friends.
And you're always welcome to come back anytime.
I appreciate that. Thank you. I'll make sure to keep you guys. Thank you. I'll keep you guys updated and informed with more music, Deke. I'll make sure to give the podcast a shout out on the next live. That kind of stuff. I appreciate you guys. Y'all have a wonderful fucking day, man. Thank you guys again. Appreciate it.
Bye.
Peace out.